James Donald Lewter, and I'm 90 years old, and I've been here all my life. I'm one of them rare individuals that was born in Huntsville. All I've ever done in the way of occupation was Lewter Hardware. It was in operation when I was born. Well, the truth of it is, it was really my dad, and he was the one that bought out Mr. Robinson there, who had the Robinson Roofing and Supply, and he really was the one to get it. I think Granddaddy came and helped him on collecting bills that were behind and things like that. But mainly, my dad, he was the prime mover. I said, I figured it out. My dad was the prime mover. I was the weak link in the chain, but then the boys got it, and they took it on to higher levels.
Caleb Hipp, I'm the manager here. I've been here 16 years. Right out of high school, just as green as could be, didn't have a whole heck of a lot of knowledge about much of anything that goes on here. You first start here and you don't know much past what's in your dad's toolbox, and you get people coming in asking for sky hooks and shelf extenders, and you run around for a little while looking for stuff like that, but you catch on fast that it's about like snipe hunting. So
I used to go down there in the evenings when I got out of East Clinton Street School, and that's where I sort of hung out. It was a wonderful time for me there because I could play around there with a lot of stuff. We sold dynamite and blasting caps. And you may or may not know how they worked with a fuse, but they set the dynamite off. And we had the fuse there and the blasting caps, the dynamite we kept out back. And what better than a cherry bomb to play with it? So I did, you know, some of the things you do, it's a miracle any of us grow up to be able to do it. Later on, you talk about some of my fun memories. There was a guy that ran whiskey up and down from Florida up to New York. Moonshine whiskey, they had it in the trunk, some of this stuff, and he said, hey, you want a drink? Well, you know, 16-year-old, hell yeah. It was rough stuff. And then, of course, the store that we were selling, of course, to customers, it was largely agricultural. And we had customers there at 6 o'clock in the morning. We used to open at 6 in the summertime. And they were complaining that we had bankers' hours coming in here, you know, because we opened that late. You had to be in the fields with mules. I'd hesitate to tell you that we would sell 20,000 cotton picking sacks. There were different types. They had a bottom, just a regular bottom, then a tar bottom. It was soaked to stand the wear of dragging it to the plastic bottom later on they came on. And then they came in sizes, 4.5 foot for kids, 6 foot, I guess for ladies, 7.5 foot was that was the popular one. And then 9 foot for them real men that could get in there and pick that cotton. Used to let school out in country, particularly for 2 weeks in October when it was cotton picking time. We still sold plow points, you know, and stuff like that. Bolts and nuts, you could come in there and get any of that sort of stuff. We had bins full of that, and steel pipe fittings, and then wire fencing, galvanized roofing we were talking about, nails and all different kinds of things like that. We had a complete inventory, and I thought, you know, we're a real hardware store just like we were 40, 50, 60 years ago. In fact, Betty, my bride for the last 71 years, her daddy ran one of the mills, Huntsville Manufacturing, it was Merrimack Mills. And they moved here. She said, I'd kind of gotten used to going to a new town, new friends and all that. Said Huntsville was some state, and it was just a cotton mill town. We had, you know, other cotton mills in town. At one time were 12 or 11 cotton mills right around. And this one was the last one standing, Huntsville Manufacturing, or Merrimack had been.
There's been just all kinds of off-the-wall requests. You know, somebody comes in and they have an issue with whatever they're trying to fix, and they're not really giving away a bunch of details, and you're having to kind of piece it together, and then finally they realize that you're not going to get them what they need unless they tell you, and it's just something bizarre, off the wall, crazy.
I got all sorts of accolades when we were closing it down. This guy talked about, he said, I play a harmonica and it has a little metric screw in it. And he said, you can't find one anywhere. It's 2 millimeters long and all. He was going through the whole thing. He said, somebody told me you better go to Lewter's, and they go down there and you had them all the size and the length and everything perfect. He said, I bought them from my buddies that play the harmonica. I bought all 50 of them you had for my buddies. Things like that, and you think, well, I guess Donnie and Mac had made it pretty special. We don't sell a lot of the stuff of the 30s and 40s, but we might still have 1 or 2 of them stuck back upstairs. We have run into that, people that needed something like for a number 90 Chattanooga plow. You don't sell cotton sacks or cotton hose. You don't. Our whole business climate of our customers changed. And then aerospace came in. We even sent one of our pliers or something we had, they had a problem, and I think it was Apollo 13. And they came down and got it from us because we had the thing they needed. The engineers were a lot of fun because they are so precise. And we would have their wife come in the store, and I'd give her the instructions. This is what you need, because we did this with a lot of items. This is what you need to do. And she said, well, now, can my husband do that? I said, ma'am, is he an engineer? She said, yes. I said, not a chance. You better listen here. They don't pay any attention, and they'll come up with something different. If they gave me the other answer, said, no, he's not, I said, you'll do fine. And we laughed about it, but that was principally true. And that's probably the reason we got to the moon and all that, is the fact they were precise about how to do it. The elevator is a 1907 model with the big cast iron wheel at the top, or steel. And it has cables that go down to it. And we've had generations of people come in there. OSHA has a fit when they see that elevator in there. The kids can ride on it, could come down on your head or anything like that. But they kind of left us alone with it. Like rolling ladders we had too. That was pretty standard back in those days, to the upper shelves. Donnie and Mac, they're cat lovers. I've got dogs, but they were cat lovers. So they finally went to the Ark, and they told the gal, said, we need a mouser. And Coco lived to the old age, but along the way they thought, on the weekends when we're not here, we're gonna make a trip down here to feed Coco, but it's sad, she's probably lonesome. So then they got another cat.
I've been here for 3 of the 4 cats that have been tenured down here.
Coco died, and we went and they got Buffy, which we have now. Now Buffy is 17 years old, and she ain't too spry. She's like me. She don't move too fast. Then later on, the other cat died, and they went out and they told me to go get us another cat. I said, I'm not a cat lover or nothing. I don't know how to do this. And I said, but out there at 5 Points on Wellman Avenue, they've got a cat in there, they said, that would probably fit well. And that's Lou, Ludwig she was. And they went out there and she's with us now. Okay, now, when we closed it down, that's the first thing Jency, my granddaughter, said. She said, I want the cats. I had a friend ask me yesterday when we were going to dinner, he said, are you having withdrawal? I says, a little bit, but I had told the boys over a year ago, y'all are in your 60s now. And I says, don't hang on because you're trying to please me. I think that, when Dad bought Mr. Robinson out on July the 12th, 1928, and I went here till October the 8th, of 2022. I guess that's a pretty good run, 94 years. And again, nothing lasts forever. And people wanted to buy the store. When Donnie died and we knew, hey, we're not going to continue with this because Mac can't do it by himself, nor could Donnie have done it without Mac. They were, as I said, Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside, and that really worked. They had it. Mac kept it going, and Donnie was the personality kid, so to speak.
It's been a staple, you know, that people have always loved and cherished it, and everybody's saddened and disheartened, but you have various levels, and, you know, I've had people come in here and just start bawling, saying how they, you know, they just don't know what they're going to do. It's interesting to see the huge emotional connection that so many people have with this place. It's really neat. I don't think it's just something you don't see anymore. I don't think anybody's going to cry over Home Depot or Lowe's closing up, but it's definitely happened many times down here. Can't tell you how much I am grateful for 16 years.
Boy, it's got a two-way street.
I love you.
We hugged as when I left there, and I told him, I love you, buddy. You're the real thing, and he is.
I wouldn't have been able to get these experiences and these lessons anywhere else, so thank you for the opportunity. I've been glad to be able to work here for you.
We still, I guess, did it, you know, the old-fashioned way. My dad used to tell us, he said, look, when a customer comes through that door, he's your guest, and he needs to be treated that way. Sometimes they're difficult, but you treat them as a guest in your home because that's what they are, and they keep us eating regular. He said, and you, Eddie told me when I got out of the Air Force, he said, your name's over the door, son. You got to be better. Not that I was, but at least I knew what I ought to be.